would you mind leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the Shawnee County Board of County Commissioners. It's February 10th, 2020. And on my right is Commissioner Kevin Cook, who represents District 2, and on my left is Commissioner Aaron Mays, who represents District 3, and I'm Bill Rippon, and I represent District 1. Good morning. Good morning. Very good. First item.
First item is number 3, consent agenda.
I'd move to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Mays, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item 4, new business A, County Clerk number 1, consider all voucher payments.
Commissioners, this morning we have vouchers that total $2,077,831.11. The highlights out of the voucher report: under building and maintenance, we have professional engineering consultants for $13,222.65, which is for the Lake Shawnee Girls Complex for turf project design services. Under district court, I would note that there are 13 pages of jurors, so the district court has been quite busy over the last month or so, but the highlight out of that was BA Design for $33,291.72, which is seating for multiple courtrooms. Under the Department of Corrections, their total is $109,426.37, but the highlight is the Tech Electronic of Kansas of $10,915 for the fire alarm system. Under the Equipment Fund, we have Piping Contractors of Kansas of $138,390.40 for the North Annex HVAC. Bleachers International for $14,982.60, which is the third payment of the grandstand and press box at the Lake Shawnee Girls Complex. MCON for $203,400 for water refresh at Adventure Cove. Under our holding accounts, we have $175,565.98. Health insurance premiums of $343,259.61. And finally, Parks and Recreation, $143,573.27. And with the increase in Parks and Rec, we know spring is not far away. I would have no questions. I would move for approval.
Second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item A2, consider correction orders.
Second. I guess motion to approve.
I'll second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Motion carries 3-0. You threw me.
Yeah. Keep you on your toes.
Next item.
Item B, Parks and Recreation number 1, consider approval of request to auction 16 surplus vehicles at a cost of $300 per vehicle, utilizing a service provided through the Enterprise Fleet Management Agreement, with proceeds to be applied to the current lease agreement.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brent Halsether, Fleet Services Supervisor with Parks and Rec. We're just requesting to use a different service than we've used in the past. In the past, we've used Purple Wave to get rid of surplus vehicles. With our contract for Enterprise Fleet Management, one of the services they provide is to help us get rid of our surplus vehicles. Makes the transition much more streamlined, a lot less time involved with our staff and staff of the other offices.
Any questions? Yes.
So the $300 a vehicle per vehicle, how does that compare to what we were paying through Purple Wave?
With Purple Wave, it's the charge is done with the buyer. So if somebody bids, they have to pay the finance charge to get rid of the vehicle. The savings really comes in when you do the process of the auction. They've got to come out and take pictures, and we go through with all the different vehicles. And then we spend quite a bit of time on the phone with people as they're bidding, and then we've got to arrange for all the vehicles to be picked up at different times at different locations. With Enterprise, we make a phone call and they come get the vehicle. It's out of our hair. They sell more vehicles than just about anybody in the United States, so they have a good network of dealers. I was talking to the gentleman that handles the vehicle sales, and he said, well, I sold 55 this morning, so they're used to moving large quantities of vehicles and getting a pretty good price for them.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
No, I move to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner May, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Thank you. Next item.
Item B2, consider approval of request to amend Parks and Recreation membership dues and subscriptions to allow department to renew the software subscription with Power DMS to manage documents electronically at a cost of $6,671.30, with funding from the operating budget and authorization and execution of contract C32-2024 same.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tim Laurent, Shawnee County Parks and Recreation Department. Yes, this morning we're down here asking to renew our subscription with Power DMS. Power DMS, in case you don't know, it's a software program that really manages most of your documents, all of your policies and procedures. It also helps us with our CAPRA accreditation. Kind of the neat thing about it, in my opinion, is it creates a library of all your policies and procedures. It keeps you on task as far as reviewing them annually, sends reminders. It tracks all the changes. It gives a complete history of that document. So at any time you can go back as far as we've had the software and find out when changes were made and who made them. So we think it's an integral part of our operation, and we'd like to renew the subscription and be happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Any questions? I'll move that we approve.
I'll second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item B3, consider approval of request to award bid to Bettis Asphalt and Construction, Inc. to repair Bettis Family Sports Complex parking lot at a cost of $49,671, with funding from the Capital Maintenance 3R Fund and authorization and execution of contract C33-2020 same.
Good morning, Commissioners. Randy Luby, Parks and Recreation. Before you today is we're asking your approval to accept the bid and the contract with Bettis Asphalt. If you recall, last fall we went out for bid for this project. We did receive 2 bids on it. This is actually not the lowest bid. It's a little bit higher, but we feel that this is the best way to go about it. This bid includes more crack milling than crack sealant, as the other bid had more of the sealant. We did ask Public Works and Kurt Niehaus to take a look at this, as that he's a lot more has a lot more experience in this than we do, so I value his opinion, and he agreed this would be the best product to put out, and it will last longer and be best for the parking lot. Be glad to answer any questions you may have.
What's your timeline on this?
We're hoping to get it started here as soon as it warms up enough that the asphalt companies can get out there.
Is this going to cover the entire parking lot of Bettis? Is it only half the parking lot? What's the square footage that we're looking at?
It's the entire parking lot. They may do it in segments to allow vehicles in, do part of it, and then allow them to park on the other side. So we always have access to it, and also for rentals of the Lake Event Center.
Okay. And do you anticipate this conflicting with any activity that you have out at Bettis with either the soccer events or with baseball?
We do not.
I'll move that we approve.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next
Thank you,
item.
Commissioners.
Item B4, consider approval for out-of-state travel for one Parks and Recreation employee to attend the 2020 Work Truck Show in Indianapolis, including an educational conference with industry-specific training with registration, travel, lodging, and per diem not to exceed $1,768, with funding from the departmental budget and authorization and execution of contract C-34-2020 Education and Training Expense Agreement.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tim Laurent, Shawnee County Parks and Recreation Department. We believe this conference would be a great tool for our fleet management division. This will keep us informed of the latest and the best practices. Also, keep us updated on new equipment and provide insight with problems that other people may be having with their equipment. So, with your approval, I'd like to send this person to conference. Be happy to answer any questions.
Questions?
I have none. I'll move for approval.
Second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Next item.
Item C, corrections. Number 1, consider approval of request to post and fill a custodian position for the Department of Corrections at a salary including benefits of $39,454.13 with funding from the departmental budget.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brian Cole, Shawnee County Department of Corrections. This is just to request to post and fill a current vacant custodial position we have at the Department of Corrections. This is not a new position. This is a current position that has been budgeted for, and we've gone through all the processes, procedures to post and to go through HR for these kind of things. So I'm just asking for your permission to post and fill.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item C2, consider authorization and execution of contract C-35-2020, First Amendment to Master Services Agreement C-342-2018 with Securious Technologies, Inc., to include a digital mail service at a cost of $4 per month per inmate based on the average daily population, with costs estimated for the first year of $2,164 to be deducted from the monthly commission.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brian Cole, Shawnee County Department of Corrections. I am requesting approval for the First Amendment or a change order to an existing contract we have with Securus, who does all of our electronic when it comes to phone and communication. One of the things that we have found and one of the challenges that we've discovered here at the Shawnee County jail is that we are seeing contraband more and more being sprayed, or drugs liquefied, sprayed onto pages or mail. This is increasing across the country, and it has also hit our facility as well. Not only does this endanger the staff's health of handling the mail, it also allows contraband into the inmate facility and to the inmates who have that. And we have seen some inmates that have actually engaged in consuming some product that has come in on there. We've worked with local law enforcement and have been advised that this is increased in the local prisons here in Shawnee County and across the state of Kansas. What this will do is that it will not interrupt the mail service. The inmates have a right to the mail, in which they will get. The mail will be sent off-site. It will be completely advertised to the inmates, put on our website, so the family members would know that the mail is there, sent to a central location. It is scanned, and then the mail is sent to the inmates via they have access to their mail on the kiosk or the tablet, which they all have access to. There is no handling, no introduction of contraband. The family members do have the ability to have the original mail, if it's a card or something, or a photo, sent back to them undamaged. This will not apply to publications or legal mail at all. We did do some research, and we found that some jails who have already engaged in this included legal mail, and they ran into some problems with legal mail. We're not going to entertain. We're going to allow legal mail to continue to come in as it does already, and publications, because it does have to come in through a book store or club or something like that. A person cannot just mail in a book. We believe that this will enhance our security tremendously, number one. Number two, the cost will come from the commission that we're already getting from the tablets, and the increased cost will pay for itself, so there is no additional cost. And the inmates will have access. So we don't believe that there will be any disruption of the mail that comes in. So I will stand for any questions you may have.
Brian, if I understand correctly, what you're really talking about is when the mail is received, it goes off to Securus, they scan it, and then the inmate would be able to look at it on the tablet.
Absolutely.
Couple of questions. What happens if the inmate is not able to afford the cost of the tablet?
They have the kiosk, which is free.
And is there going to be a delay, or how much of a delay in the mail being received? I mean, the mail's already, it takes time for people to mail it, receive it, process it, open it.
Correct. Our standard is that inmates get the mail within 24 hours of when we receive it, the mail. And right now, this is a fluid system to where the minute they get, the people on the, that get the mail, they will scan it. We will get it probably quicker, and we'll be able to deliver it to the inmates quicker, because it'll just be a matter of us getting a file, putting it on the tablet.
Okay. And why can't our jail staff scan it and put it on the tablet as opposed to going through a third-party vendor?
We looked at that. It will be much more timely for our mail staff, because they do still have to go in and they do still have to go into the modules and things like that. We're trying to reduce, number one, the safety concern. And we looked at the scanning systems for these type of materials and stuff like that. They are costly. And being we're working with Securus and being able to handle this, it was a little bit more, I'll be honest with you, of convenience and safety for our staff to be able to free them up from just scanning in tons and tons of mail. Right now, they get the mail, they deliver it. Now it will be they'll spend a lot more time scanning it. So we felt it was a cost savings that way.
Are there any concerns with the inmates? I mean, if you receive a letter, you're able to keep your letter in your module and have it to read whenever you need to, or have access to it at all hours, especially if you're in a lockdown period. Whereas if you're looking at it on a tablet or on a kiosk, you're limited in when you have that tablet, or you're limited to when you have access to that kiosk. Is there any concerns that the inmate would not have the same access to the letters?
I would say maybe continuous access if they didn't have the money to afford a tablet, but most of the inmates that we're getting have the tablets in the modules, and they keep them 24/7 unless they damage it. So the inmates, when I go into a module, anytime, day or night, an inmate already has their tablet with them. So they can use the tablets, and this was part of the system to be able to make phone calls on the tablets during lockdown. So this will continue to have access. The only people that would maybe have a problem was if we did have a serious lockdown for several hours, they wouldn't have that letter with them in the mail, in the module, or in their cell. They would have to look at the kiosk when it was open. That could certainly happen. The tablets, they typically have the tablets with them. But we're doing our best to get inmates out so they have access to that. And we're also trying to reduce the amount of clutter that they have in their modules. And for us, it's the drugs that are coming in.
Currently, does the jail staff scan letters that are given to inmates?
No.
So this would then create another opportunity for a law enforcement agent or district attorney's office to have access to what the inmate has, in the same manner that they would be able to listen in on a conversation that's not protected.
Correct. That part of it would not change. They have access. If we deem there being a criminal interest in that, we just don't keep the mail and read it and things like that. If there was the district attorney or law enforcement needed access, they go through the proper protocols to get that information. But nothing would change that way.
And who's paying for the service?
Securus. First of all, we get from the increased cost that we've got from the tablets. We're just going to use that increase in commission to pay for that, and we will still see revenue generated.
Thank you.
Can the inmates get emails directly to their tablet?
No. We're working on that system as well, to where inmates on the tablets or kiosks can go to do emails when it comes to in-house or internal things, like if they needed to send in a grievance, a medical request. We have not done what prisons have done, to where they allow them the internet access, or to my best knowledge of understanding, emails on the outside. No, we have not. We don't do
If they
that.
could just get emails, that would eliminate the need for a lot of letters. What are they putting on the letter?
Typically, what we're finding is that they liquefy K2 and other types of drugs, methamphetamines and stuff, and they liquefy it and they put it in aerosol or some kind of pump spray, and then they spray it onto the letter of the document, and it dries. So when it comes in, you can't tell unless you were to look at it under a certain type of light, which this is what this will do at this other place. or if we're handling the letter, and the mail people handle the letter with gloves, sometimes it will crumble off. If we get any detection that there's something on it, the inmate won't get it. We'll let the inmate know why, that they won't get it. But yes, they nowadays is quite ingenious of what people who intend to enter contraband in, they'll liquefy it and spray it or drop it. That's why we take the stamps off, because people have put acid or LSD under dots, is what they call them, under a stamp or under a certain part of the letter, which is virtually sometimes undetectable.
What do they do with the letter then, the inmates?
Sometimes that they will eat it. Sometimes inmates will find a way to go to an outlet if they can and try to see if there's a way to put a piece of paper in under a bowl that they can buy to put in the microwave to heat it up and try to inhale it somehow. But that's what we see.
Interesting. All right. Any other questions?
Nope.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 2-0. Thank you, Brian. Next item.
Item C3, consider approval of out-of-state travel for 3 Department of Corrections employees to attend the 17th Annual International Conference of Positive Behavior Supports in Miami at an estimated cost of $4,500 for all travel and conference expenses, with funding from the departmental budget and authorization and execution of Contract C 36-2020 through Contract C 38-2020 Education and Training Expense Agreements.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brian Cole. First, this is not for me to go to Miami, but the Board of County Commissioners have approved the Juvenile Detention Center to invest quite a bit of budgetary funds to go towards our PBS, or our positive behavior supports, in this upwards of almost $50,000. This is a different type of behavior modification plan that we have with the juvenile detention centers that come in. We have called in experts out of KU that have done this with numerous jails and schools across the United States and in Kansas to allow us to design and implement a system to enhance better behavior on the juveniles. And we have seen that, less disciplinary reports, more involvement in school. Part of this is to allow us to go to their annual conference, to stay up on the new changes that come to PBS, to allow us to present. We're one of the few jails that are involved with this, so we present and provide information for these things, and allows us to go ahead and continue. They train us, and then we continue to train staff. The initial part of the 50,000 that we had, or 40,000, was for them to come in and train staff. Now they train the trainers. So we do need to make sure that we get our at least 2 or 3 staff each year to this conference to allow us to maintain the continuity of delivering the service to the staff and the juveniles. This is money that we budget for and to plan for each year, and allow us to send staff. And we've seen this to be very valuable. They have signed the forms, and they will provide also a travel report at the end.
I'll move for approval.
I have one question. Does this help with your accreditation, or is this applied?
It does. It allows us to go in, because we are mandated to have a behavior modification plan in place, and allow a series of processes to evaluate inmate or juvenile behavior and things like that. So this goes right in hand with that, yes.
Okay, thank you. I'll second. Motion. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item. Thank you.
Item D, Court Administration, number 1, consider approval of request to pay Furniture Mall of Kansas invoice of $17,590 for installation of carpet in rooms B4, B6, B8, and B10, utilizing the Court Administrator's Cyclical Maintenance Special Project Fund.
Good morning, Commissioners. Lee Welch, Court Administrator, 3rd Judicial District. Basically, the request is exactly as presented. We're requesting approval for the expenditure of $17,590 to install carpet in the 2 juvenile divisions here in the lower level. This was carpet that was purchased under 2 blanket purchase orders, I believe in 17 and 18 before my arrival. And there is funding available through our Special Projects Fund for cyclical maintenance.
Questions? No. Move for approval. Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item E, Health Department. Number 1, consider approval of request to fill a Master Social Worker program at a salary of $67,437, including benefits, with funding from the Maternal and Child Health Block Grant, and to fill any subsequent positions which become vacant from filling this position.
Good morning, Commissioners. Teresa Fisher, Family Health Division Manager with the Health Department. Due to a resignation, we are asking to refill this master's level social work position. As mentioned, it is funded through our Maternal Child Health Block Grant, and it's included in our 2020 budget. This particular position provides intensive home visitation to some of our most at-risk pregnant and parenting families here in our community. They provide case management, they provide referrals, assessments, just some general wraparound services around these individuals and their families. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions?
I think this is a well-needed position and does well in the community, so I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Teresa. Next item.
Item F, Solid Waste. Number 1, consider approval of request to issue a request for quotations for solid waste commercial and industrial containers at an estimated cost of $65,000 to $100,000, with funding from the 2020 collections operational budget.
Good morning, Commissioners. Bill Sutton, Solid Waste. This is our annual request to replenish our commercial and industrial containers that we have in our inventory. We repair and maintain as many of these containers as possible throughout the year, but at some point we need to replenish our stock. As a result, we request permission to issue a request for quotation for all of the various sizes of commercial and industrial containers, and then order these containers on an as-needed basis throughout the year. Funding for this request will come from our operational budget, with this 100% user fee funded with no cost to the taxpayers. I'd be happy to answer your questions.
Are these various sizes of containers that you're?
Yes, these are the small metal ones,
Okay.
the 1, 2, 4, and 6, and 8-yard containers that you see throughout businesses, and even some residences have these little small containers.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item G, Public Works. Number 1, consider approval of request to reject bids received February 5th, 2020 for the replacement of the Southeast 69th Street Bridge over tributary to Lynn Creek project, and request authorization to examine and amend existing plans and specifications to rebid the project at the next available bid date.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kurt Niehaus, Director of Public Works. Yes, on February 5th, we had a bid letting for our Southeast 69th Street Bridge over tributary to Lynn Creek. We had 4 bids that we opened. Unfortunately, the lowest of those 4 bids was over the 110% threshold that KSA 68-1115 allows. In fact, it was over by the threshold by $296 and some change. So, we're going to go back and tweak the plans, remove some things from maybe the project. Whatever, we intend to relet the project at the earliest possible time after the 2 notification periods. And so I'm here before you asking you to reject these bids and to allow us to start the process again.
Any questions?
Is the reason why, do we have any reason why it came in so high? Was it the scope of the project? Was the cost of the concrete, materials, labor, or just the general market?
We've analyzed the low bid. I would say it's a combination of things. Concrete costs, reinforcing steel costs. Unfortunately, we have rock real close to the surface, so we have to pre-drill pile holes, and that is expensive, probably more expensive than we anticipated. We had approach slab in there, approach slabs. We had mobilization that was higher than we anticipated. I think mainly the mobilization was higher because they have to bring in specialized equipment to do the pile pre-drilling. So there was a number of reasons that we fully understand and I think we can get around.
I just didn't know if we've seen costs of concrete go up on other projects, and contractors appear to be very busy with a lot of road construction projects, and I didn't know if we're looking at seeing an adjustment to what we had expected through engineering, to maybe it's going to start coming in higher than we have anticipated.
Well, we've seen increased prices. It's been a trend. It's something that I have talked about last year in our budget process. I think another thing is that you hit the nail on the head is that the work is starting to pick up. As the work picks up, there's basically a limited population of contractors who can do that kind of work in the area. As work picks up, their workload increases and their need for additional work goes down. And as that need goes down, prices go up. So on this project, for example, we originally wanted to start work on this project early in the calendar year so that we were finished before the end of the summer. We heard rumors that some of the contractors were not going to bid because of an existing workload, basically leftover work from 2019. So we modified the project timeline and we allowed an early start date or a late start date. The idea being only one semester of a school year, of the 2020 school year, would be impacted, whether it be the spring semester or the fall semester. I don't know if that helped. I mean, we got 4 contractors that were interested in the project, but I think we'll continue to see an increase in material costs as we go forward. And yes, it is a concern. Not only is it a concern from just the material costs, but it seems like, for example, the money we receive from KDOT, the federal funds that we use the exchange program on, they keep going down, down, down. So these are all things that are conspiring to lower our ability to get projects, a number of projects, complete in a time period.
I thought our exchange funds had gone down under Governor Brownback, then were restored under Governor Collier, and not changed under Governor
The exchange rate changed from 90-10 to 75-25 for 1 year. It's back at 90-10. What I'm talking about is the raw dollars coming to us is decreased significantly. In fact, since 2016, we've seen more than a 40% drop in the number in the dollars that are coming from KDOT through the exchange program. So these are things that I'll be talking about going forward, and they're important. It's a core function of public works to build projects to improve the transportation system, and you need money to do that.
What is the priority level of this bridge?
It's a very high priority level. It was established because the last bridge inspection program put this as a priority. In fact, when I came before you asking about this project, I showed you the existing bridge. It is in much need of replacement, and that's why we will continue to move forward with this replacement. We are finding other ways to get the project amount down to a level that we can accept.
Will you be changing the engineering of the project, the design?
No, because to change the complete engineering would set us back by months. What we're doing, we're tweaking the plans to lower the cost of the project. If we can just lower it by $30,000, we would probably be okay. So,
is there a chance when we rebid this, it'll come in higher than what we had the first time?
There's always that chance. I think that we're working with all of the bidders to encourage or discourage that. How's that?
But we were over that threshold by
$296.29.
And the state doesn't allow us to.
State statute does not allow it. We worked with the county councilor, and they were very gracious in providing their expertise and told us what we could and couldn't do.
Sounds like we've made so many rules we can't use common sense in this. All right.
We'll try again. Motion to reject.
Second, reluctantly. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Thank you.
Kurt.
Item H, Sheriff's Department. Number 1, acknowledge receipt of correspondence from Sheriff Hill regarding the purchase of a 2013 Ford Police Interceptor at a cost of $10,900, including the outfitting of a patrol vehicle with funding from federal forfeiture funds.
Good morning, Commissioners. Major Hubler, Shawnee County Sheriff's Office. As you know, we all deal with budget shortcomings and trying to struggle and be as fiscally responsible as we possibly can in trying to get vehicles, good quality vehicles in all our deputies and first responders that we have hands. We were able to locate a vehicle with approximately 50,000 miles on it that is fully equipped. A comparable vehicle, brand new, would have been well over $40,000. You just have a short drive to go pick it up. Because we don't have money in our budget, we will plan on using federal forfeiture to fund the purchase of this vehicle. Be happy to answer any questions you may have.
I'll move that we approve.
Second.
Motion.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item H2, consider approval of request to pay an invoice of $38,378 to Axon Interview Room Solutions for the remaining portion of this project, with $33,923.75 in funding from the project fund and $4,454.25 from federal forfeiture funds.
Good morning again, Commissioners. Major Hubler with the Shawnee County Sheriff's Office. And while I am sad that I don't have socks like Director Cole does, because those are awesome, I am happy to say this project, we were able to get it successfully completed last week with lots of help from the IT department. Thank you to Mark Price and Pat Omlander for their assistance with that. This new interview room solution is absolutely outstanding. It's state-of-the-art. We have moved in out of the dark ages into the new millennium, I guess, for lack of a better term, with our interview room solution. And I would encourage you, if you ever want to come over and take a look at it, it is substantially nicer than what we did have. But I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Questions?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Mays, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Next item.
Item 5, Administrative Communications.
Okay, at this time, we welcome any comments from staff or the public. Speak on whatever subject they want to talk about.
Good morning, Commissioners. Randy Luby, Parks and Recreation. I just want to let you know that we've already started ball programs out at our Bettis complex. Actually, they're rentals. Ottawa University is already booked, and they start playing, I think, on Friday and Saturday this weekend. And we are booked with, as long as weather permits, all the way through till October with somebody playing on that field. Also, I just wanted to also let you know that Parks and Recreation is hosting our state conference this week at Manor Conference Center. Starting actually with a few sessions going on this morning, and our opening session will be at 1 or 1:30 this afternoon. So look forward to that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Lynn Lee, epidemiologist from the Health Department. I would like to share my EpiServe with you for this month. So this month we are talking about drug overdoses. It's interesting that you were talking about drugs and letters, so I might have to ask you a few questions after. So according to the CDC, drug overdose deaths are the leading cause of injury-related deaths in the United States. And from 1999 to 2017, over 700,000 people have died due to drug overdoses. A side note, what you're seeing here in front of you of course, I like to show Shawnee County trends, Kansas trends, and the United States trends. And so the darkest line, the darkest blue, is Shawnee County. The lighter blue is Kansas, and the light gray is the United States. A little history about the drug overdose epidemic that's happening in the United States right now. Over the last 30 years, opioids have been the main drivers of drug overdoses. And so story goes, in the early 1990s, there was an editorial that was written about the lack of addressing pain in the United States. And so editorial talked about how we didn't address pain enough, and so pain became the 5th vital sign. And so from there, a lot of physicians started writing prescriptions for pain. And so the first wave of opioid deaths happened in the late 1990s, and so you started to see more prescriptions written, then more overdose deaths due to prescription opioids. So that happened, and you can see the trend from earlier. And then the second wave happened in 2010, and you started to see then the rise of heroin overdoses. And then the last wave of the opioid crisis in 2013, and that was due to the illicitly manufactured fentanyl. So fentanyl is the hot topic right now in the United States. And so I wanted to just say that, so in the United States, West Virginia has the highest rate of drug overdose deaths, followed by Ohio and Pennsylvania, and Nebraska has the lowest drug overdose deaths in the United States. And so the CDC estimates 192 overdose deaths happened each day. So on to Kansas. Like the United States, Kansas has also seen an increase in overdose deaths. Although we see overdose deaths rates rising among all age groups, what we do see is the highest overdose deaths age group is between 45 and 54, followed by the age group 35 and 44. And of course, I like to look at Shawnee County. And so I looked at the last 10 years for Shawnee County. And from 2008 to 2018, 268 people have died from drug overdoses in Shawnee County. An interesting fact, 74% of them were unintentional, 19% were intentional drug overdoses, and 7% were undetermined. Now you get to look at all my pretty graphs that I made. So the first graph you see here is just the drug overdose death rates by age group. And so the yellow line, the top line, like I said earlier, was the age group 45 to 54. The second one, the gray line, is 35 to 44. And I wanted to compare it to motor vehicle accidents. Because I think that in public health we always talk about, like, wear your seatbelts, and that was one of the interventions that we really strive to have everyone wear their seatbelts. And so the graph here to your right, the green line is all drug overdoses. This is specifically for Shawnee County. The blue line is the unintentional drug overdoses, and the yellow line is motor vehicle accidents in Shawnee County. So we've improved a great deal for motor vehicle accidents, so kudos to all of the people that have been working on that. And the pie chart that you see here is drug overdose deaths by industry group. We get a little bit of drug overdoses in all of the industries, but I think it was really interesting for me, at least, to see that 16% of all deaths in Shawnee County for drug overdoses happened in the healthcare and social assistance field. So there's, and then 10% in the public administration and active military. And so I think that by looking at this, we could possibly use this to do more targeted interventions, maybe some PSAs. And the last graph I have is drug overdose deaths by contributing drug type. So when I first got to Shawnee County, people have told me many a times we have a meth problem. We don't have an opioid problem. And so I wanted to look at, of the drug overdose deaths, what were they contributed to? And so 40% of all the drug overdose deaths mentioned opioids in them. Meth is in the cycle stimulants group. And I will say that when it comes to things like fentanyl, it's 50 to 100 times more potent, and so you will definitely see more deaths contributing to opioids. Last but not least, of course, the health department is supporting HHN, PARS, and the Substance Abuse Task Force. Addressing drug overdoses and drug poisoning is in our CHIP and our plans, and so we're definitely supporting the ongoing efforts as we speak. And with that, any questions?
If I run the math, I mean, we're talking about 198, almost 200 people over that 10-year period that are as a result of the or overdose, unintentional. Is that 74% of your number?
That one is 268. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Just, again, to put, I mean, it's one thing to have a percentage, but when you're talking about 200 people in Shawnee County alone over a 10-year period, that's a fairly significant number. So, thank you for the information.
Of course.
Found it interesting that a number of people in the healthcare business had overdose issues. I would have thought that would have been the smallest percentage.
Me too.
Any reason for that?
You know, like Commissioner Cook said, it's unintentional. You know, oftentimes, if it's unintentional, they didn't mean to. Maybe it was used with another drug, or maybe it was taking on too much. You only need it to happen one time for it to be an overdose.
Any other questions?
Nope.
Thank you, Lynn.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyone else? All right, next item,
Did you want to see if they want to talk?
what's this?
Did you want to see if either of the two commissioners
Oh,
want to talk?
I'm sorry.
Well, how are we going to know what you've been up to?
More important, what have you been up to?
Last week, I did have the opportunity to go to the Kansas Conservation District banquet. While I was there, I had an opportunity to speak with Jason. If you want to come up and introduce yourself. Jason is working through Senator Moran's office. He was formerly a Johnson County Commissioner, and so invited him to come and meet with us and talk about the Senator's office and what he does.
Good morning, everyone. Wasn't really prepared this morning, but thank you for the introduction. Kevin, as he said, I'm Jason Osterhaus, a former Johnson County Commissioner, but I now work for Senator Moran's office as his district director. Shawnee County is one of the districts that I cover, so here to learn a little bit more about what's going on in the county, and I'd definitely be interested to hear in the reduction of funding on the public works road projects. I'd love to speak with whichever staff member that was, because I know the Transportation Act is going to be renewed here in the future. So, but I'm just here to learn and maybe talk to our commissioners a little bit afterwards and hear what we can do at Senator Moran's office to help out. So, thank you, Kevin.
Thank you for attending. Commissioner Mays.
Well, okay, so I'll talk about a couple of things that I've done. Last week we had a public information hearing for Parks and Rec on the Clarion Park. It was well attended. There were, I would say, over 100 people there that are very passionate about what's going on with that park, and so we'll listen to their concerns and hopefully work with them to come to some kind of a resolution that everybody's going to be happy with. Also attended the graduation that the Department of Corrections had. 19 new employees, I believe, and from what I understand, 19 started, 19 finished the training, and are actually going into the workforce, so that's exciting. And then also had the opportunity to spend most of the day Friday meeting with high school government classes at Topeka West High School. Had a lot of fun there, answered some interesting questions, as high school kids can come up with some fun topics. Yeah, good week off, I guess, or one day at least.
Well, I too attended the graduation of the 19 new employees from the Corrections Department, and congratulations to all of them. Brian and I, we also attended a leadership workshop in Wichita for 2 days last week, and hopefully we're better leaders now, right? That's the goal, huh? All right. That's all I had this week. What else do we have? What's next?
There was 6 executive session.
We do have a need for executive session, so I'm going to make a motion to go into executive session for a period not to exceed 20 minutes to discuss 2 items. One item for consultation with an attorney with a public body or agency which would be deemed privileged, and the attorney-client relationship, specifically to discuss pending litigation. That's for 10 minutes. The second item is for consultation with an attorney with a public body or agency which would be deemed privileged in attorney-client relationship, specifically to discuss offer to resolve issues surrounding the northwest parking lot at the courthouse. This is also for 10 minutes. No action is expected at this time.
Second.
Second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries. We're now in executive session.
Jane, if you want to tell Jason what will be done in about 20 minutes, if he wants to meet this.
No action was taken in executive session, and our board meeting is adjourned. Thank you. For both of you who stayed.
Well, Jason, how much different from Johnson County to Shawnee County?
I was surprised at the lack of